Chapter 6. The Cowardly Lion. All this time, Dorothy and her companions had been walking through the thick woods. The road was still paved with yellow brick, but these were much covered by dried branches and dead leaves from the trees, and the walking was not at all good. There were few birds in this part of the forest, for birds love the open country where there is plenty of sunshine. But now and then there came a deep growl from some wild animal hidden among the trees. These sounds made the little girl's heart beat fast, for she did not know what made them, but Toto knew, and he walked close to Dorothy's side and did not even bark in return.
How long will it be?
The child asked of the Tin Woodman.
Before we are out of the forest.
I can't tell,
Was the answer.
for I have never been to the Emerald Sea, but my father went there once when I was a boy, and he said it was a long journey through a dangerous country. Although nearer to the city where Oz dwells, the country is beautiful, but I am not afraid so long as I have my oil can, and nothing can hurt the Scarecrow.
Up want Toto.
Said the girl anxiously.
What will protect him?
We must protect him ourselves if he is in danger.
Replied the Tin Woodman. Just as he spoke, there came from the forest a terrible roar, and the next moment a great lion bounded into the road. With one blow of his paw, he sent the Scarecrow spinning over and over to the edge of the road, and then he struck at the Tin Woodman with his sharp claws. But to the lion's surprise, he could make no impression on the tin, although the woodman fell over in the road and lay still. Little Toto, now that he had an enemy to face, ran barking toward the lion, and the great beast had opened his mouth to bite the dog, when Dorothy, fearing Toto would be killed and heedless of danger, rushed forward and slapped the lion upon his nose as hard as she could, while she cried out,
"Do not you dare to bite Toti. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, a big beast like you, to bite a poor little dog."
I did not bite him.
said the lion as he rubbed his nose with his paw where Dorothy had hit it.
No, but you tried to.
She retorted.
You are nothing but a big coward.
I know it.
Said the lion, hanging his head in shame.
I've always known it. But how can I help it?
I do not know. I'm sure to think of your striking a stuffed man like the poor Scarecrow.
Is he stuffed?
Asked the lion in surprise as he watched her pick up the Scarecrow and set him upon his feet, while she patted him into shape again.
Of course hair is stuffed,
Replied Dorothy, who was still angry.
That's why he went over so easily.
Remarked the lion.
It astonished me to see him whirl around so. Is the other one stuffed also?
No, Google.
Said Dorothy,
Harry made of tin.
and she helped the woodman up again.
That's why he nearly blunted my claws.
Said the lion.
When they scratched against the tin, it made a cold shiver run down my back. What is that little animal you are so tender of?
He is my dog, To.
Answered Dorothy.
Is he made of tin or stuffed?
Asked the lion.
Neither here a meat dog.
Said the girl.
Oh. He's a curious animal and seems remarkably small now that I look at him. No one would think of biting such a little thing, except a coward like me.
Continued the lion sadly.
What makes you a coward?
Asked Dorothy, looking at the great beast in wonder, for he was as big as a small horse.
It's a mystery.
Replied the lion.
I suppose I was born that way. All the other animals in the forest naturally expect me to be brave, for the lion is everywhere thought to be the king of beasts. I learned that if I roared very loudly, every living thing was frightened and got out of my way. Whenever I've met a man, I've been awfully scared, but I just roared at him and he has always run away as fast as he could go. If the elephants and the tigers and the bears had ever tried to fight me, I should have run myself. I'm such a coward. But just as soon as they hear me roar, they all try to get away from me, and of course I let them go.
Oh, but that is not right. The king of beasts should not be a coward.
said the Scarecrow.
I know it.
Returned the Lion, wiping a tear from his eye with the tip of his tail.
It is my great sorrow, and makes my life very unhappy. But whenever there is danger, my heart begins to beat fast.
Perhaps you have heart disease,
Said the Tin Woodman.
It may be.
Said the Lion.
like you have.
Continued the Tin Woodman.
You ought to be glad, for it proves you have a heart. For my part, I have no heart, so I cannot have heart disease.
Perhaps.
Said the Lion thoughtfully.
If I had no heart, I should not be a coward.
Have you brains?
Asked the Scarecrow.
I suppose so. I've never looked to see.
Replied the Lion.
I am going to the Great Oz to ask him to give me some pakey,
Remarked the Scarecrow.
for my head is stuffed with straw.
And I am going to ask him to give me a heart.
Said the Woodman.
And I am going to ask him to send Toto and me back to Kansai.
Added Dorothy.
Do you think Oz could give me courage?
Asked the Cowardly Lion.
Just as easily as he could give me brains.
Said the Scarecrow.
Or give me a ha.
Said the Tin Woodman.
Or send me back to Kans.
Said Dorothy.
Then, if you do not mind, I'll go with you.
Said the Lion.
For my life is simply unbearable without a bit of courage.
You will be very welcome,
Answered Dorothy.
for you will help to keep away the other wild beasts. It seems to me they must be more cowardly than you are, if they allow you to scare them so easily.
They really are.
Said the Lion.
But that does not make me any braver, and as long as I know myself to be a coward, I shall be unhappy.
So once more the little company set off upon the journey, the Lion walking with stately strides at Dorothy's side. Toto did not approve of this new comrade at first, for he could not forget how nearly he had been crushed between the Lion's great jaws. But after a time he became more at ease, and presently Toto and the Cowardly Lion had grown to be good friends. During the rest of that day there was no other adventure to mar the peace of their journey. Once, indeed, the Tin Woodman stepped upon a beetle that was crawling along the road, and killed the poor little thing. This made the Tin Woodman very unhappy, for he was always careful not to hurt any living creature, and as he walked along, he wept several tears of sorrow and regret. These tears ran slowly down his face and over the hinges of his jaw, and there they rusted. When Dorothy presently asked him a question, the Tin Woodman could not open his mouth, for his jaws were tightly rusted together. He became greatly frightened at this, and made many motions to Dorothy to relieve him, but she could not understand. The Lion was also puzzled to know what was wrong. But the Scarecrow seized the oil can from Dorothy's basket and oiled the Woodman's jaws, so that after a few moments he could talk as well as before.
This will serve me a les.
Said he.
To look where I step, for if I should kill another bug or beetle, I should surely cry again, and crying rusts my jaws so that I cannot speak.
Thereafter he walked very carefully, with his eyes on the road, and when he saw a tiny ant toiling by he would step over it so as not to harm it. The Tin Woodman knew very well he had no heart, and therefore he took great care never to be cruel or unkind to anything.
New people with heart
He said,
have something to guide you, and need never do wrong, but I have no heart, and so I must be very care when Oz gives me a heart. Of course I need not mind so much.
Chapter 7. The Journey to the Great Oz. They were obliged to camp out that night under a large tree in the forest, for there were no houses near. The tree made a good, thick covering to protect them from the dew, and the Tin Woodman chopped a great pile of wood with his axe, and Dorothy built a splendid fire that warmed her and made her feel less lonely. She and Toto ate the last of their bread, and now she did not know what they would do for breakfast.
If you wish, I will go into the forest and kill a deer for you. You can roast it by the fire since your tastes are so peculiar that you prefer cooked food, and then you will have a very good breakfast.
Donna, please, Donno.
Begged the Tin Woodman.
I should certainly weep if you killed the poor deer, and then my jaws would rust again.
But the lion went away into the forest and found his own supper, and no one ever knew what it was, for he did not mention it. And the Scarecrow found a tree full of nuts and filled Dorothy's basket with them, so that she would not be hungry for a long time. She thought this was very kind and thoughtful of the Scarecrow, but she laughed heartily at the awkward way in which the poor creature picked up the nuts. His padded hands were so clumsy and the nuts were so small that he dropped almost as many as he put in the basket. But the Scarecrow did not mind how long it took him to fill the basket, for it enabled him to keep away from the fire, as he feared a spark might get into his straw and burn him up. So he kept a good distance away from the flames, and only came near to cover Dorothy with dry leaves when she lay down to sleep. These kept her very snug and warm, and she slept soundly until morning. When it was daylight, the girl bathed her face in a little rippling brook, and soon after they all started toward the Emerald City. This was to be an eventful day for the travelers. They had hardly been walking an hour when they saw before them a great ditch that crossed the road and divided the forest as far as they could see on either side. It was a very wide ditch, and when they crept up to the edge and looked into it, they could see it was also very deep, and there were many big, jagged rocks at the bottom. The sides were so steep that none of them could climb down, and for a moment it seemed that their journey must end.
What shall we do?
Asked Dorothy despairingly.
I have not the faintest idea.
Said the Tin Woodman, and the lion shook his shaggy mane and looked thoughtful.
We cannot fly, that is certain. Neither can we climb down into this great dish, therefore, if we cannot jump over it, we must stop where we are.
I think I could jump over it.
Said the Cowardly Lion, after measuring the distance carefully in his mind.
Then we are all right, for you can carry us all over on your back one at a time.
Well, I'll try it. Who will go first?
I will, for if you found that you could not jump over the gulf, Dorothy would be killed, or the Tin Woodman badly dented on the rocks below. But if I am on your back, it will not matter so much, for the fall would not hurt me at all.
I am terribly afraid of falling myself, but I suppose there is nothing to do but try it. So get on my back and we will make the attempt.
The Scarecrow sat upon the lion's back, and the big beast walked to the edge of the gulf and crouched down.
Why don't you run and jump?
Asked the Scarecrow.
Because that is not the way we lions do these things.
He replied. Then giving a great spring, he shot through the air and landed safely on the other side. They were all greatly pleased to see how easily he did it, and after the Scarecrow had got down from his back, the lion sprang across the ditch again. Dorothy thought she would go next, so she took Toto in her arms and climbed on the lion's back, holding tightly to his mane with one hand. The next moment it seemed as if she were flying through the air, and then, before she had time to think about it, she was safe on the other side. The lion went back a third time and got the Tin Woodman, and then they all sat down for a few moments to give the beast a chance to rest, for his great leaps had made his breath short, and he panted like a big dog that has been running too long. They found the forest very thick on this side, and it looked dark and gloomy. After the lion had rested, they started along the road of yellow brick, silently wondering each in his own mind, if ever they would come to the end of the woods and reach the bright sunshine again. To add to their discomfort, they soon heard strange noises in the depths of the forest, and the lion whispered to them that it was in this part of the country that the Kaladas lived.
What are the Kaladas?
Asked the girl.
They are monstrous beasts with bodies like bears and heads like tigers, and with claws so long and sharp that they could tear me in two as easily as I could kill Toto. I'm terribly afraid of the Kaladas.
I'm not surprised that you are. They must be dreadful beasts.
The lion was about to reply when suddenly they came to another gulf across the road. But this one was so broad and deep that the lion knew at once he could not leap across it. So they sat down to consider what they should do, and after serious thought the Scarecrow said,
Here is a great tree, standing close to the dit. If the Tin Woodman can chop it down so that it will fall to the other side, we can walk across it easily.
That is a first-rate idea. One would almost suspect you had brains in your head instead of straw.
The woodman set to work at once, and so sharp was his axe that the tree was soon chopped nearly through. Then the lion put his strong front legs against the tree and pushed with all his might, and slowly the big tree tipped and fell with a crash across the ditch, with its top branches on the other side. They had just started to cross this queer bridge when a sharp growl made them all look up, and to their horror they saw running toward them two great beasts with bodies like bears and heads like tigers.
They are the Kaladas.
Said the cowardly lion, beginning to tremble.
Quit! Let us cross over!
So Dorothy went first, holding Toto in her arms, the Tin Woodman followed, and the Scarecrow came next. The lion, although he was certainly afraid, turned to face the Kaladas, and then he gave so loud and terrible a roar that Dorothy screamed, and the Scarecrow fell over backward, while even the fierce beasts stopped short and looked at him in surprise. But seeing they were bigger than the lion, and remembering that there were two of them and only one of him, the Kaladas again rushed forward, and the lion crossed over the tree and turned to see what they would do next. Without stopping an instant, the fierce beasts also began to cross the tree. And the lion said to Dorothy,
We are lost, for they will surely tear us to pieces with their sharp claws. But stand close behind me, and I will fight them as long as I am alive.
Wait a minute.
called the Scarecrow. He had been thinking what was best to be done, and now he asked the woodman to chop away the end of the tree that rested on their side of the ditch. The Tin Woodman began to use his axe at once, and just as the two Kaladas were nearly across, the tree fell with a crash into the gulf, carrying the ugly, snarling brutes with it, and both were dashed to pieces on the sharp rocks at the bottom.
Well, I see we are going to live a little while longer, and I am glad of it, for it must be a very uncomfortable thing not to be alive. Those creatures frighten me so badly that my heart is beating yet.
Ah, I wish I had a heart to beat.
This adventure made the travelers more anxious than ever to get out of the forest, and they walked so fast that Dorothy became tired and had to ride on the lion's back. To their great joy, the trees became thinner the farther they advanced, and in the afternoon they suddenly came upon a broad river flowing swiftly just before them. On the other side of the water, they could see the road of yellow brick running through a beautiful country, with green meadows dotted with bright flowers, and all the road bordered with trees hanging full of delicious fruits. They were greatly pleased to see this delightful country before them.
How shall we cross the river?
That is easily done. The Tin Woodman must build us a raft so we can float to the other side.
So the woodman took his axe and began to chop down small trees to make a raft, and while he was busy at this, the Scarecrow found on the riverbank a tree full of fine fruit. This pleased Dorothy, who had eaten nothing but nuts all day, and she made a hearty meal of the ripe fruit. But it takes time to make a raft, even when one is as industrious and untiring as the Tin Woodman, and when night came, the work was not done. So they found a cozy place under the trees where they slept well until the morning, and Dorothy dreamed of the Emerald City and of the good Wizard Oz, who would soon send her back to her own home again.